What's up, everybody? Superx fan here for another weekly update. Back in the Mustang GT. Man, I know I sound like a broken record, but I still just love this thing so much. Like, I'm really getting a strong bond with it now. I know probably 6 months ago I was like, I don't know. I'm like feeling like I have a bond with it, but now that I have been putting some more miles on here, I'll be putting another 250 miles on it today here on a little road trip to Cleveland and back for a concert, and I can't get enough of this thing. Like, I want to drive this thing across the country and back. Like, every time I get out of it, I'm like, man, I just want to keep driving it. Like, it's just it fits me to a T. It's just exactly what I want in a car, and I still just absolutely love it. So honestly, that's it as far as there's no other updates here on the Mustang, and there's lots of exciting car news to get to this week, so I'll just send it right back over to me at the news desk for this week's news. Right, for this week's news, lots of exciting stuff here for enthusiasts this week. So, get right down to it. The first thing is the new mid-engine Corvette was spied yet again, but this time we get even more details about it than we had in the past. It was also spied testing alongside the new ZR1, or what everyone thinks is going to be the new ZR1, and so it's very exciting seeing the two side by side. And the crazy thing is, when you see them both side by side, is how identical they are from the A pillar to the B pillar. So that midsection there, on the new mid-engine one, still looks almost identical to a C7. Of course, now whenever you get to the front end, it's a lot shorter front end to show that it obviously doesn't have an engine up front, and then the back end, of course, is much longer, obviously because it's mid-engine now. So very exciting to see, that under development still. We don't know when we're going to see this new mid-engine Corvette or what it's even going to be, because since it shares a lot of C7 stuff, it could be like a final hurrah, like a halo model for the C7, or it could be just an all-new model, but they, are just, I guess, saving some money by recycling some of the older parts. I'm not sure what's going to go down with that, but the mid-engine one does look awesome. You can see it's got some vented I guess engine cover there in the back to I guess showcase that new mid-engine layout, and it also does look like it's going to have some slightly Corvette looking taillights and stuff, so that kind of dismisses the rumors. There's been some talk that this could possibly be a Cadillac, the mid-engine one, but after seeing some of the styling cues there, it definitely looks all Corvette, and it'd be really shocking if that ended up being a Cadillac. But still not sure how they're going to do that. We'll probably be seeing the production version of the ZR1, the racetrack one that we're seeing there. That should be unveiled at the New York Auto Show here in April. But yeah, who knows about this mid-engine Corvette, but very exciting to see it under testing here. It does look pretty far along. Another thing that was teased again this week, of course, is the new Dodge Challenger Demon, which every week we've been getting teasers here, and there's a little more explanation into last week's teaser about the reduction and how it's going to be losing weight. And we know it's going to lose 200 pounds, and that's what they quoted, but they broke it down, and in reality, with the way most people are going to be buying this car, it's probably only going to lose maybe 75 pounds or so. That's because 113 of those pounds that are lost on the Demon are whenever you get rid of the front passenger seat, which is going to be an option, that's 58 pounds, and removing the back seat, which is also 55 pounds. And then those two combined, like I said, 113 pounds. So, I don't know how many people are going to want to do, without a back seat, I can see that, but getting rid of your passenger seat, I think only people that are strictly drag racing this vehicle are going to, make it a one-seater vehicle. But, so, you add in a passenger seat, and if you want to add in the back seat and stuff, you kind of negate a lot of that weight loss. They did detail some of the other weight losses, though. The wheels are about 16 pounds lighter than the Hellcats. It has a manual tilt and telescoping steering column instead of a powered one, which gets rid of 4 pounds. There's an 18-pound loss for removing a bunch of noise and vibration insulation stuff. So it's going to be pretty noisy as far as road noise and things like that go. Very unrefined, but again, this is a drag racing monster, supposedly, and that's all that they're focused on. They also lost 20 pounds by removing the trunk interior trim and spare tire. So, yeah, and then it also gained 17 pounds, though, thanks to those wider fender flares to fit those larger wheels. And there's been more talk again that this Demon could actually end up being all-wheel drive after all, because after last week's teaser showing that it's going to have these 315 wide tires on all 4 corners in their drag radial, so it isn't actually for handling or anything, it could most likely be that this thing ends up being all-wheel drive, even though some of the other teasers have hinted that it won't be, and we know that with the burnouts and stuff that we've seen. So still a lot of unknowns here about the Demon, despite all these teasers. Another teaser that just launched this week is saying how they're going to be providing and selling tools and all kinds of equipment so you can transform your Demon from, a track monster to a street monster, and kind of I guess switch it up a little bit that way. So cool to see that. They're also going to be selling spare wheels and things like that for drag racers and whatnot. So once again, cool to see that. Something really exciting, a bunch of awesome stuff. If you're a fan of JDM sports cars, all kinds of good stuff to look forward to here just recently. We know the new Supra is on its way, so we've seen spy shots. I just talked about the newest spy shots last week in last week's weekly update. And so the Supra Mark V forums rendered and took an intelligent guess as to how it's going to look. We know it's going to look a lot like the FT1 concept, but the way that they rendered this and the way that it fits the proportions of the car that was spied, you can see it's going to look really nice, actually. If in some of the spy shots, it looks a little too stubby and short. But with these, renders, it looks like, you put the FT1 stuff on there and it does certainly fit. It could look very, very good. So, not sure if that's exactly how the new Supra is going to look, but it's a pretty good guess, most likely. And also, it's a guess as to when we're going to see this thing. It could be as soon as Geneva in March. Could be later on this year. The Tokyo Auto Show's going to be coming up here in October. That could be a perfect place to show this off as well. Either one is very exciting, but cool to see that. But some of the most exciting news, so many people have been asking me in the comments, what about a new Nissan Z car? Any news about a Nissan Z? And it's been mostly depressing news where Nissan said, well, we don't even know what we would do if we did a Z car. And I suggested a little while back that why don't they just make the Infiniti Q60 into a Nissan version that's cheaper and just sell that. I think that would perfectly fit the bill as a successor to the 370Z. And it sounds like that actually might be what Nissan ends up doing. According to Car and Driver, they just came out with a report this week that they have some intel saying that they're going to be doing a new Z concept car that's going to be shown at the Tokyo Auto Show in October. It's a concept car, but they say the production version should be following shortly. So this isn't a long rollout. It should be like, concept, and then maybe 6 or 9 or 12 months later, we'll see the production version most likely. They say that the concept car, it's going to have a grille inspired by the new GTR, front end restyle, and fit with all the other Nissan models with the styling cues. And they said the production model will be based on the Infiniti Q60. So they're just going to take that, existing coupe that Infiniti has that's gorgeous and do their own version. So that kind of kicks to the curb the idea, because Nissan was kicking around the idea of making like a BRZ competitor and making something that's smaller, more affordable, lighter, less powerful. But these days with the horsepower wars and whatnot, I think everyone wants more power, at least while we can have it here before EPA restrictions crack down. So I think they're just going to go with more power. So Car Driver goes on to say that it's going to share the same engines as the Q60, which means both are twin-turbo 3-liter V6 engines that are going to be doing 300 horsepower most likely, just like the Q60 in the lesser powerful one, and then 400 horsepower for the more powerful one. They said there's also a possibility of a hybrid variant that's going to do 500 horsepower and be a halo model for this new Z. And Auto Express, which is another magazine that's been reporting on this, they say that their report says that the engines could be slightly different. They think that there'll still be the 400 horsepower motor from the Q60 and then the hybrid 500 horsepower one, but they think that the base motor is going to be a naturally aspirated 304 horsepower V6, maybe even just a variation of the 370Z's engine, which I think is actually the better way to go. If you want the people that want the naturally aspirated stuff, you can give them that and then just make a turbo model with the 400 horsepower and then the hybrid one for 500. I think that'd be a great lineup, and kind of please everyone. Those who don't want turbos can get the old-fashioned V6 there, and you can go full high-tech if you want and get the hybrid one. So because of all these ranges in power that are all over the place from 300 to 500 horsepower, Car Drivers expecting the price to be somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000. Most likely 50 would be for that halo model, because you don't want to step on the toes of the Q60 too much, but that sounds about right. The current 370Z, it's very, very stale at this point, but that's right under $30,000. So it will be a little bit more expensive, but obviously have more power, more room, more tech and all that kind of stuff. And so very exciting to see that. One thing though that Car Driver mentions is that these cars are going to be available with dual clutch transmissions, automatics. No word about a manual, although I really would be surprised if they didn't offer a manual. At least, if they're going to do that base model with the naturally aspirated V6, port over the 370Z's manual. You don't even have to do anything to it. That manual is still fantastic. Just leave it as it is, and at least for that model, it'd be nice. Be nice also for the higher end models, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, regardless, we're expecting the new Z to arrive before 2019. So hopefully sometime next year, this thing's actually going to be on sale. So very quick, we haven't seen any kind of spy shots yet of anything. So that's why I'm really surprised to hear this. And it's still far from confirmed, but hey, any Z news is good news, really. So exciting to see that. Another exciting bit of news the Car and Driver has broke a story on here is a possible S2000 Successor actually coming sooner than we were expecting it. We've been hearing that something like that may come, and we've been hearing that for years, so no one was really getting their hopes up too much, but now it sounds like that's actually pretty legit. Apparently, Car and Driver has a source that says Honda wants to celebrate its 70th anniversary in 2018 by unveiling a successor to the Honda S2000, have it be a new little Halo sports car for Honda, although it may end up being like an Acura model here in the States and be some kind of baby NSX. But some of the interesting stuff is it's going to be really high tech, and Honda wants it to kind of showcase their technology as far as performance stuff goes. So a lot of people are thinking it might just have the Civic Type R engine, but this is saying that engine is going to be old news by the time this thing comes out in 2018, and they said they want to take things forward. So they said, as a celebratory model, the sports car must be special, so it must have a new powertrain and a unique chassis. So Holiday Auto has reported that what that unique powertrain could be is a two-stage electric boosting system to go along with a turbocharged engine. So it would have an electrically driven supercharger, a standard normal turbocharger, and then also, be a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. And that would make it quite a screamer while still having basically no turbo lag and be compact and lightweight still. So it could be a 2-liter 4-cylinder. They're saying 320 horsepower is kind of what they're guesstimating this thing to be. Still, we're uncertain about how it would look or anything. We know that Honda dealers have been begging for a retractable hardtop convertible two-door sports car. So that is what Honda dealers want, and they say that's what their customers are asking for, is a retractable hardtop thing. So we'll have to wait and see if that ends up being the form that it takes, or if it's just a hardtop or just a soft top convertible or what. They're also saying it's going to be mated to an 8-speed dual clutch transmission, so there might not be a manual offered, but hopefully, with Porsche reintroducing manuals and stuff, the other car companies will follow along and also make a manual an option, hopefully. And so as to when we'll see this, now they're saying not till 2018, but then they're also saying this car will be like on sale in 2018. So it's kind of uncertain. So according to Auto Guide here, they're saying that it could be coming at the Paris Motor Show or the Los Angeles Auto Show in 2018. So that's like a year and a half away. I personally think it may have a chance of showing up at the Tokyo Motor Show, since everyone's showing their stuff, possibly with the new Supra. We know the new Z concept, if that ends up being a true story, that's going to be shown in Tokyo. So it could just be all kinds of feel-good 90s JDM revivals here going on, and we'll see, an S2000 Successor maybe in Tokyo. Even if it is just a concept version, we might be able to see something here by the fall. So exciting development there nonetheless. Another Honda Acura story here is that the 2018 Acura TLX was spied, completely uncovered, doing some promo photos and videos before its release here. It should be coming relatively soon, actually, either at the Chicago Motor Show here very soon or at the New York Auto Show in April. You can see it's mostly like a refresh, I believe. It has the new nose kind of off the MDX, gets rid of the little beak that they had on the previous TLXs. And we also have seen a sportier model as well, you can see there, with the more aggressive bumpers and the round exhaust tips there in the back, the little rear lip and stuff, and looks very cool. There's also a possibility of a hybrid model in the works as well. Not sure if that's going to be debuting that soon or not, but it looks like we will at least be seeing a sportier model and the standard TLX here relatively soon. So very exciting to see that, and hopefully it actually delivers on the performance front there. Some other exciting sporty car news is that there's rumors that the next generation Volkswagen GTI might get a mild hybrid system. And so what we mean by mild hybrid is it's going to have a 48-volt electrical system that helps to boost performance while also improving fuel economy. And this is similar in theory to what you get with, like, supposedly the new hybrid Mustang that's coming in 2020. And that's when this Mark 8 GTI is supposed to arrive in 2020, at least in Germany. We might not get it till 2021. But yes, it's they're shooting for 260 horsepower for this new model. But this electrical system, this hybrid system, is going to get rid of a traditional turbo, is what they're thinking, and have some kind of electric compressor instead, an electrically driven turbo or supercharger kind of deal, much like the Audi SQ7 TDI and some others out there that they've done in the past. So it'll help with more torque down low in the rev range, and also give you more sustainable power. It could also have some kind of boost button or something as well, which could be fun. And I wasn't a big fan of this technology when they announced it for the Mustang, because that's more of a traditional, muscle car. But for the GTI here, this actually kind of gets me kind of excited, because, if you can have more power, a broader power band, more power, and a boost button here for the little GTI, I think that'd be pretty cool. And they're also saying this Mark 8 Golf is going to have a slightly longer wheelbase and a slightly wider track width as well. And according to Autocar, the design has already been set. It's been designed by the guy that's been doing all the current Porsche designs, so expect it to look really, really good. They're saying it's going to be immediately familiar as a Golf, but it's going to have more pronounced wheel arches, a more upright tailgate, a thinner grille, and smaller, more angry headlights, much like all the trend of cars these days goes. And so yeah, the guy designing Porsches is doing this car, and it's going to be faster and be a really zippy little go-kart here. That should be very exciting. So cool to see that. Other Volkswagen Group news is that the 2019 Porsche 911 was spied, and that's a complete shock as well, because we just have the new 2017 models here, the Mark 2 version of the 991s, and the GTS model just unveiled recently, and so that's for 2018. So it's really surprising that this is even coming so soon. And the craziest thing is it looks so far along in its development. I mean, you can see here it's spied in both coupe and convertible form, and it's wider, it's sleeker. I really am digging the looks of this thing. Even with the camouflage on it, you can't hide the beauty of this thing. Especially those rear fenders and stuff, it looks really cool. It also has a spoiler that goes all the way across the back end now, instead of ending with the rear bonnet there. And yeah, but it looks so close to being finished that everyone's like, well, they can't be releasing it that soon, because it's we just have the Mark II version here, and they don't want to only have it for a year or two and then kill it off super quickly. So I don't know when this thing's arriving. Maybe there's gonna, they're ahead of schedule or something. I'm not sure. Or maybe the Mark II version of the 911 is just gonna have a really short lifespan. But yeah, so who knows when we're gonna see this thing? It could be, it definitely won't be as soon as the Geneva Motor Show, I don't think. But maybe sometime later this year, the Frankfurt Motor Show in the fall, or maybe Geneva next year. We'll be seeing this thing. But yeah, it does look very close to being finished, honestly. And yeah, so but very, very exciting to see that. It just looks really good. Another thing that was a bit of a surprise this past week is that the McLaren 720S leaked out on Instagram. A private unveiling where they showed this thing in this orangish kind of pearlescent paint job. Looked really cool. So yes, that is the new McLaren 720S. Looks really awesome. And then McLaren, instead of just revealing the whole car ahead of the Geneva Motor Show here, where it's going to be shown next month, they instead showed a picture of a camouflaged one and introduced a new feature that the 720S is going to have. It's going to be called variable drift control, which lets you modulate the stability control systems by swiping your finger across the infotainment system. I'm not sure how that works or how it's going to work, but this is part of McLaren's proactive chassis 2, which has 12 additional sensors over the 650S chassis. It's able to read the inputs and gauge tire patch so that it can adjust the suspension and all that kind of stuff to the different driving conditions, and hopefully have a perfectly controlled drift. So they say it also improves cornering, handling, grip, and comfort. And the 720S is going to have a comfort, sport, and track chassis settings, custom tailored, of course. And so that's pretty cool to see. Another exciting thing McLaren officially announced this week is a new partnership with BMW to build engines. And the last time they worked with BMW, they made the McLaren F1, which is legendary and is still amazing to this day. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that this new engine sounds that good. But no matter what, it sounds promising. So they said in this announcement of this partnership that their goal is to build new combustion technology that will produce a higher output per capacity than currently possible. So, more performance with less emissions. That's what everyone's shooting for. And so that's what they're going for here. And so we'll have to see what turns out. Now, this partnership is not just with those two. It also involves, I think, 3 or 4 other people. It's subsidized by the UK government and all kinds of stuff. And one of the other partners is the company that builds engines for the Aston Martin DB11, which is a very impressive, all-new V12 twin turbo that's, efficient while still being very powerful. So think of something maybe along those lines, although obviously completely different here from the McLarens and whatnot, but very cool to see that as well. Even more great news for enthusiasts is that there's a new report here saying that AutoGuide actually reported on here that the Alfa Romeo Giulia is going to be getting a coupe version. We'll be seeing it as soon as the Geneva Motor Show next month. We haven't seen any kind of spy mules running around, but they're saying this is coming. We know that Alfa has promised 9 new models over the next 5 years, and with the Giulia and the Stelvio are being the first 2, this could be the 3rd. And Australia's Motoring magazine has claimed that it's going to be probably called the Sprint, Giulia Sprint, which is a retro name that they used back in the day. And so that's what they'd be calling this, is the Alfa Romeo Giulia Sprint. And it's going to be a coupe version, of course. They are primarily going to be trying to compete with the Audi A5, which sells very well all around the world. And of course, there will most likely be a quadrifolio version as well, considering, they want to compete with the M4 and C63 coupe and all that kind of stuff. So very exciting to hear about that. I'm sure it's going to be drop dead gorgeous, and I can't wait, and hopefully we see it as soon as the Geneva Motor Show. That's very exciting. Another beautiful car that was revealed this past week is the Volante version of the 2018 Aston Martin Vanquish S, which is the final hurrah here for the Vanquish before it goes by the wayside here, and its naturally aspirated V12 also dies off, sadly. So that naturally aspirated V12, much like in the Vanquish S, does the same 580 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque. And Aston Martin, they make some beautiful cars. And so this one is going to be $315,000 roughly, which is I think 18 grand more than the coupe, and it's going to be heavier than the coupe, of course. But if you want those glorious naturally aspirated V12 sounds without a roof, then I think that trade-off is most likely well worth it. So very exciting to see that, and hopefully they sell lots of them. They go on sale in April here in the US. Something that won't be going on sale here in the US is the new BMW 5 Series wagon called the 5 Series Touring. So it, much like the sedan, the new rear window though, and the whole, obviously the wagon part is totally different than the sedan. And the rear window has a more steep rake. It has a little bit of a more aggressive appearance. The tailgate is now aluminum, and it has a separate rear window opening as well, so that you can access the cargo area without opening the whole hatch, which is very convenient. And so over in Europe, it's going to be offered with the same, engines you get with the normal sedan, including, turbocharged diesel engines and also gasoline engines. And so only the 6-cylinder models are going to be available with all-wheel drive over there in Europe. The 4 cylinders, you can only do rear-wheel drive. All the models get air suspensions in the rear. They all come with the 8-speed automatic, except if you get the inline-4 diesel engine, that one you can get a 6-speed manual transmission. I don't know why, but hey, take what you can get, I guess. Like I said, it doesn't come to the States, so it doesn't matter to us here in America. But for those of you in Europe, maybe that base model is the one to get if you love the manuals. It's going to be officially debuted at the Geneva Motor Show in March, but of course we have several pictures of it here already, and it's going to go on sale over there in Europe in June. One awesome wagon that we are getting here in the States is Mercedes. Good old Mercedes. They're bringing the new E63 S Wagon to America here. They brought the previous version here to the States, thankfully, and this new one, of course, looks amazing. It's, obviously built off the new E63, and so it has the same glorious 4-liter twin-turbo V8 that does 603 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque. Same 9-speed multi-clutch transmission. 0 to 60 time, 3.4 seconds here for the wagon, which is about 0.2 seconds faster than the previous E63 S Wagon, and it's only 0.1 seconds slower than the new sedan. So it has the same all-wheel drive system as the sedan, where it can shift 100% of the torque to the back end to make you as tail happy as you want. It's going to have the same drift mode as the sedan, all that stuff in a wagon. Sign me up. So it's pretty awesome. They're going to be revealing that also at the Geneva Motor Show here in March. Once again, everyone is getting their stuff shown here in Geneva. And we're actually going to be getting the E400 wagon here in the States as soon as March. And then the AMG model here that we're seeing is going to be debuted, I guess, on sale in the fall. So that's when we're getting it here in the States. They haven't released pricing for either of them, but we know the previous E63 wagon was like, I think, 130 grand. So this one is probably going to be even a little more expensive than that before options. So very expensive, but if you can afford it, man, there's nothing sweeter than that, I think. So very cool to see that. Other cool Mercedes news is that there was a forum in Germany this past week where people were showing car designs and things like that. And Mercedes showed off some, I guess, little scale models of future design directions and styling languages, kind of like mini concept cars, essentially. And they're saying that they're going for more curvy and less creases. They say the creases are kind of going to be dated and passe, and so they're going with smoother lines, which I personally like better anyway. I agree with Mercedes. I think these little concepts they made here are gorgeous looking. We have a sedan, a race car style thing, and then also the hypercar. We know that Mercedes is working on a hypercar. I don't know if this is actually what it's going to look like or not. This is, again, just concepts and stuff, but very cool to see that, and especially that sedan. I think that's a very good styling direction for Mercedes, and so yeah, hopefully they continue on in that direction because it's very, very beautiful. And back to some GM news real quick. Chevy was spied testing the new Silverado, or at least it was being unloaded off of a truck here. The 2019 Silverado. It's rumored to actually be joining the F-150 with the aluminum club here. They're going to use extensive aluminum and also some composite materials as well to keep shedding weight and getting better fuel economy, because that's all that they want to do these days, and obviously that's all they have to do. And so yeah, we're just seeing it with some very interesting camouflage, I might add, that does look very similar to F-150 camouflage. That's hopefully to throw people off from thinking it's a Chevy. Not sure, if it's gonna actually, have taillights that look that similar to an F-150. I personally doubt it. But just it's all camouflaged up, so you can hardly really tell anything except from the fact that it's gonna probably be about the same size as the current Silverado. You can't really make them much bigger, and so yeah, that's about it. We're probably gonna be seeing a full reveal of this later this year or early next year. I think it'd be likely to see it, at the Detroit Auto Show next year, but could be sooner. One cool thing is Chevy was actually granted a patent for this all-new tailgate that they have, it's going to have a built-in step, and so that's most likely going to be on the 2019 Silverado as well. It's pretty cool, the way that they have proposed the idea here, and so yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that actually works in reality. Other Chevy news real quick is that Chevy has officially killed off the electric version of the Spark. The Spark EV has been killed off. They never sold well anyway, and with the new Bolt coming out, which is probably better in every way, the range is much better, that's for sure. There's no room for the Spark EV, so they have officially killed that off, and so I don't think anyone's going to really miss that too much. And then the last story this week is that Rolls-Royce has officially built the last Phantom, at least for this generation of Phantom. We know a new Phantom is already underway and will be revealed relatively soon as possibly the Geneva Motor Show yet again in March, or it could be as late as the Pebble Beach, I guess, Grand Concourse, fancy auto show that they have in August, and that probably makes the most sense, honestly, for a Rolls-Royce debut, but we'll have to, wait and see, when they decide to make this. But this last one that they built looks really cool. It has a nautical theme. Whoever, the customer is that, did all these bespoke things. I like that it has kind of white wall tires there, and just a very, very nice and elegant look. So yeah, it's been a good run for the Phantom. It's been around forever in this generation, and so we're excited to see the new one. So yeah, that's it for all the news this week, guys. I'll send it back to me in the car. Leave you guys with a nice little acceleration here like I always do. Sounds so good. So anyway, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Take care.